Good morning, boys and girls. We're glad to be back with you today. I'm Mrs. Sheridan, and with me as my assistants today, I have
Trisha, Nate,
and Judah.
No, Jonathan.
Judah is 2, and he's going to be helping us today. We'll see how it goes. He's never done cooking class before, so we're going to see what it looks like. Today we are making applesauce. So I have some apples right here. You're going to need about 6 apples. I also have a lemon. I'll take the lemon out. So I have some apples, and they've already been washed. Also, I've already pulled my hair back. Long sleeves. Judah was wearing long sleeves. He had his pushed up, but they've fallen down. So pushed up his long sleeves.
Short sleeves.
We've washed our hands in warm water for 20 seconds, so they were clean. So we are ready to get started. I am going to be using this. This is called an apple slicer. It slices the apple and it cores it so that you have these pieces. I've already done a couple, so I can hold them up and show you. So normally we make it and then we can just eat these apple slices and they're ready for a snack. We're using it to help speed up the process of our applesauce. So I have already started on a few apples. I'm going to pass those out. The boys have a cutting board in front of them and they have a butter knife. And that is all that they need. They're going to take their apple slices.
Taking a picture of my board.
And they're going to start slicing them into chunks. We have a pan right here, and that's where they're going to be adding their chunks of apples. I have not peeled the apples or anything. You guys may start chopping into pieces. Judah, can you get your knife out of your mouth? Can you chop it up like this? Watch mommy. Can you chop it into pieces? Yeah. Remember to cut. We do, I don't know if you can see Josiah, but you can probably hear what he's doing. I have a sharp knife, but he's using his knife and he is sawing back and forth. He's not whapping at it, he is sawing. Sawing is what these teeth on the knife need, and the teeth on your butter knife. That's what grips in so that you can cut through the apple. So I'm going to keep using my apple slicer. It's going to be hard to see. We can never quite get the camera quite how you can see. And the reason I'm doing the apple slicer thing instead of the boys is because you really have to be over it to push on both sides to get it down. This is what it looks like when it comes out. And then I just take those pieces of apple off. We're just using whatever apples we had in our house. Did you cut it all up?
You don't have to use like certain Fuji apples or red lady or anything like that.
Pink lady, yeah.
You can use any apple you want.
You want to slice
if you want to, like, if you have like a favorite apple you think you will make super good applesauce, like Pink Lady or Fuji's, then that's fine.
Those would be good ones to use. But you can use any apple that you happen to have. Well, we just had some that needed to be used up. I needed them. They were starting to get spots, and sometimes with that apple core, what you see me doing is I'm slicing out some of the apple core that didn't quite come out all the way. Can you cut it?
I'm done.
Okay, put your chunks in here and I'll give you some more.
The smaller you
So we're cutting up. No, it can be, no, big chunks are fine. You can see Judah over here. If you have a toddler at home that you're making applesauce with, they are great taste testers.
Yes.
He did get a couple pieces into the pot, but mostly he's chewing on his apple as we do our cooking, and that is just fine.
Can I chew a little apple piece then?
You can eat one little piece. Don't stick your fingers in your mouth though. And then I want you guys to add your chunks to the pot so I can give you some more. Nate's probably going to wash his hands again, I'm guessing, because he just put them in his mouth. And he wants to make sure that they're nice and clean. Judah, do you need more apple? Here, sit down and do some more cutting. Can you cut the apple up? Are you done? So we are cutting up 6 apples. This is a super easy recipe, Josiah. Not chopping, but sawing. A super easy recipe to make big batches of. We did small batches. Here, let me pour it in. Let me pour so that I can get you guys some more.
That wasn't all that I was cutting.
I need you to do more apples. We only need big chunks. You guys don't have to do super small chunks. You can do big chunks because they are going to cook in a little while. So this recipe is very easy to add more. It's not a recipe that you have to have exact pieces of. I have an apple that just had some weird spots, so I'm just cutting the spots off. And we'll just cut up what's left to add into our applesauce. Judah, I need you to sit down, please. So if the original recipe called for 12 apples, and I thought that's a lot of apples for most of us to be chopping all up, so I made it smaller so that we could make just a batch for us to snack on. It's going into a pot because we are going to cook it on the stove. That's a part that one of your adults is going to do that's helping you with your cooking class. I'll show you that part in a little bit.
I got a tiny apple.
One of the things you might want to check
something on
to see what your apples taste like Nate did. Can you keep cutting, please? But I want big chunks, okay? So one of the things that you would want to taste your apples to see is you need to see if they're sweet. If they're really sour apples that you're using or they don't have much flavor, you know, some apples don't have much flavor anymore, then we'll want to add some sugar. If they're super sweet apples, then you won't need to add sugar. Usually,
sugar.
Okay, can you listen? Usually when I make applesauce, I don't add any sugar at all. So we'll have to see how this turns out. And then you'll have to decide at your house with an adult if you guys need to get off the table.
Mom, I'm ready for another batch.
If you guys will be adding sugar to yours or not. So Nate and Josiah are just dicing their apples away.
Dicing.
Judah's done.
Cinnamon Bowie, if you remember dicing, it's pretty easy. Because anybody who has who's done this, I know this last semester, like me and maybe Nate, but it's gonna be pretty easy. Okay.
And can I start teaching again?
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks.
No, you're eating too many. Go ahead and eat that piece because you already put it in your mouth. But I want you to eat less and chunk more. So, again, just nice size chunks. Let me show you. Go ahead and cut that chunk off so I can show everyone. Saw. You need to saw. This is also, applesauce is a good way to use apples that are starting, maybe they're a little bit shrivelly. You could peel them. You don't have to leave them with their skins on. I just like to have skin on. It adds more vitamins too as you're cooking them. But you just want big chunks. I don't want little tiny pieces. If you have little tiny pieces, you won't get the yummy chunky applesauce. It's gonna cook down really fast and they'll just like disintegrate. So big chunks are just fine. Oh, thanks. Did you find your knife? We are almost done. You need to stop eating them.
I was eating the little chunk.
No, stop eating and start slicing, please. We are almost done here. So we are going to just keep on slicing and dicing, and we'll see you back for the next step. You can pause your video while you finish slicing and dicing your stuff. Okay, boys and girls, we have finished dicing our apples or chunking our apples. We have 6 apples in our pot.
Mama, can I smell the lemon?
We have sliced the lemon. This is optional. You might not be adding lemon juice.
So yummy.
If you're adding lemon juice, you're going to add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. The lemon juice, I'm just going to squeeze my lemon right into here. You might already have a container of lemon juice. But the lemon juice actually just keeps your apples from turning brown. If you can use it, you don't have to use it. Nate, can you please pour the 1 tablespoon into our pot, please? Yep, just around. Very good. Here, do you want to hold that? Now we're going to add 1/2 cup water. You could also add 1/2 cup of apple juice. That's up to you. No, you hold that. Just say, do you want to add the water to our pot?
I will add the water.
And if you want, you can add cinnamon. So we are going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon because I love cinnamon applesauce. You might be adding cinnamon, you might not be adding cinnamon.
Do two.
Here, just say it. Jonathan, do you want to add that?
Yeah, two, please. And then
No, you can add one.
please.
Get down
Can I
off.
smell the cinnamon? Just pour it in.
Can you please pour it in? Do you want to smell? Just smell. No, just smell. Thank you. Now I'm going to give that a big stir.
Napkin?
Do you mind? I'm teaching right now. I'm going to give that a big stir, and I'm going to put it on the stove where I'm going to simmer it. That means on low. And we're going to cook it for about 20 minutes. We'll see how long it takes. We have big chunks, so we're going to cook it for about 20 minutes. If you're adding the sugar, you can add a 1/4 cup of white sugar or brown sugar right now. Or you can wait till after it cooks. You can taste it to see if it needs sweetened, and you can decide then. So I'm going to go put this on the stove. I'll probably show you a little bit while it's simmering, and then we'll see you back here. So you can go ahead and pause your video, and we'll come back and join you after it's done cooking. Okay?
After it cooks.
Okay, boys and girls, I just wanted to show you what our applesauce is looking like as it's cooking. You can see the liquid in the bottom. It's brown because remember we added cinnamon. And it's way more than just the little bit of lemon juice and water that we've added because the apples are releasing their moisture. So this has been cooking for probably about 5 minutes. You can see it's boiling. Do you see the liquid making bubbles between the apples? That's boiling. It's a little bit above a simmer. Ours is probably going to take the full 20 minutes to cook because we use such big chunks. If you used small chunks, yours might be done quicker, so you'll want to start making sure it's soft. We want our apples, see how I'm trying to poke it with the spoon and it's not going in? You want to be able to poke it with your spoon or a fork and have it go right in easily, so that we'll be able to mash it all up. Hi boys and girls, I'm going to try finishing up our video like this. We've cooked our applesauce and it has cooled, and now I have a potato masher and I'm going to use that and I'm going to mash it all up to make it into sauce. You could also use a blender if you want to use a blender, again once it's cool. If you wanted to eat it just like this with the yummy apple chunks, you could eat it even while it was still a little bit warm and put some of our homemade granola that we made a couple of weeks ago on top. It would be like an apple crisp. That would be really yummy. I like my applesauce chunky, so I am going to just mash it like this. I am going to show you what it looks like as soon as we're done. Okay, so I mashed this and mashed this. Like I said, I like it chunky, so I'm going to leave it how this is, like this. If you want it thin, like you get from the grocery store, try sticking it in the blender or use an immersion blender. I tasted it, and I'm not going to add any more or any sugar to it because it tastes just fine the way that it is. And if you're planning on joining us next week for overnight oats, you're going to want to set a 1/4 cup of this aside, and you can put it in a baggie and stick it in the freezer, and we'll use it next week when we see you again for cooking class. Have a good week. Bye.